Small Talk, a show that provides you information, ideas, and encouraging entertainment to help you ride the business roller coaster and bring your big ideas to life. I'm your host, Christy Smallwood, and I really want to thank you for joining us on the season 1 episode of 2020 for Small Business Small Talk. Now, my guest today has a history in sports, customer service, and entertainment. Now, he's the regional sales representative for one of the top amusement parks and one of my sentimental favorites in the world, located really close by Louisville in Santa Claus, Indiana. Bryan McBride, welcome to Small Business Small Talk.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Christy. I'm excited to be here and really just excited to talk a little bit about what I do and see how we can help folks.
I would love that. So tell me, because you and I totally reached out to you on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. I saw you post something and I was like, Holiday World. Yes. What are they doing right now with everything? So I reached out and you were so very willing to do this. So tell me some of your background, like I noticed you had sports in your background. So What got you from sports to Holiday World?
So originally getting into the sports business was mainly about doing something that I enjoyed, something that, I'm going to look forward to going into work every day. And so with my time with the Louisville Bats baseball team, spent about 19 years there. So definitely enjoyed that and had a lot of great experiences. In kind of transitioning to what I do now for Holiday World, it's much of the same thing. It's just about providing fun for people and having fun every day in my job. And that's kind of the basis for, when I'm looking at a career. I really want that position that I feel strongly about what I'm doing, what I'm providing for folks, and about the people that I work for. And so that's definitely the case with Holiday World and Splashin Safari. In the sports business, a lot of kids grow up and play sports, and they all come to the same realization sooner or later, or a lot of them do, that, I guess I'm not just going to be a professional baseball player. I'm not going to be a professional football player. And, getting into the front office side of sports sounds like a good idea because you can follow it and you can still be involved. So that's what I did in getting out of college, starting with an internship with the team, and then kind of moving up in different roles that are related to ticket sales and service. So with those guys, I worked primarily with corporate groups, with corporate suites, with season ticket packages, and then just an all-around customer service approach when it came to hosting people at games. And a lot of that transfers over to Holiday World because we work with groups that want to entertain all their employees, that want to bring out their friends and family, on down to the church groups, the school groups, the scout groups. All of those people love to come to Holiday World. They love to spend their day with us. And so we reach out to them on a group basis and take care of their needs. A lot of it dealing with, setting up a meal and really just all the great things that we offer in that aspect.
Because you guys have like this whole separate picnic campground area, right?
Yes, we do.
Because I remember, this has been a long time ago, because the Holiday World's been around for a while. It was Santa Claus land back in the day.
Yes, it was.
And my aunt worked at a factory and they would have company picnics. And I got to go with her every summer on the company picnic.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been going since well before the Raven was built.
Okay. Yeah.
Of time.
So we opened quite a bit ago. So we were actually the first theme park in America. So 1946 as Santa Claus land. And there were a number of improvements along the way. And we, I think the park just felt like it was too big for just the Christmas theme. So we got into the Holiday World theme, and then later added the Splashin Safari water park. And it has really taken off in the last 20, 25 years.
Now, you guys are not just like a great amusement park. You're award winning. Mm-hmm. So I saw your list of accolades on there. Like, that's a #1 water park. It's pretty impressive. I love, of course, I'm the lazy river kind of gal. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
But I've noticed that the additions and the improvements over the years, like how do they make those kind of decisions? Like what do they get, how do they decide what they're going to do next?
Well, for one thing, with being a family-owned park, we don't have any obligations to any other place in America, like you might have with a park that's corporate owned. So that family, the Cook family, whenever they invest in the park, that is their baby. And so a lot of what goes into the park every year is reinvested. It's the sole thing that we have to take care of in Santa Claus, and not the sole attraction in Santa Claus, but at the same time, that park is a little bit different because it is family owned and operated. And you don't see that very often for anything of that size. There are very, very few of those left in America, so that makes us unique, and it really allows us to, I think, focus more time and energy and even money on improving our park every year.
So I recall a presentation I saw about the core values
Mhm.
at Holiday World. So that kind of stuff gets instilled everywhere. And
Right.
would you think that if you guys do a good enough job having that family owned feel, like we as attendees feel that, right?
Right. Yeah, and with the core values you referred to, which are safety, service, cleanliness, and friendliness, those are instilled with our seasonal employees sometimes at a very young age. Some of those employees are only 14 years old when they start their first job with Holiday World, and so they do a great job in the training every year in really getting that across to all of our employees. We have over 2,000 that work with us on a seasonal basis every year. And how we're able to train those guys and get that instilled, that I will never quite understand, because that's just a masterful job that our team does in getting those guys ready. And so what you'll see throughout the years is a lot of those employees stay with us, and they kind of graduate on to full-time positions when they're done with high school and college. So I'm a little bit different. I didn't grow up in a seasonal role, so sometimes I'm trying to catch up with what some of the other employees knew from their seasonal days.
So, okay. So how long have you been at Holiday World now?
So I'm really just starting my second year.
Okay. Then you 2 years into it,
Yep.
what's your favorite? What's your favorite thing?
Favorite thing, really, I mean, you kind of alluded to, but just the family atmosphere and the way that we take care of our guests, that's I think is unique to our park. There are lots of parks that that certainly strive to do well in that area. I think it's something that our people really excel at. Obviously, on the group side of things, I believe we provide an excellent atmosphere for groups of all types, especially companies that want to work on recruiting, companies that want to work on retaining their best employees. These are some of the things that they're able to do, and they're able to show people, hey, we take our staff out to Holiday World every year. We have a great time. And that's kind of another thing in their toolbox to help with kind of their bottom line, but their overall health of their company.
Right. So what are we are going through, obviously, right now, for those of you who are watching this 20 years from now, currently we're in the midst of this global pandemic. How has that affected Holiday World and Splashin Safari?
Well, it's affected us much like the rest of the world. We kind of have to take a minute to stop and take a breath and realize that you're going to have some challenges with all types of groups, with all types of customers, and we just kind of had to sit back and think of some of the ways that we can take care of folks and hopefully work on solutions that allow us to move forward in the future. For some, that may be moving an event later in the year. For others, it may be doing an event the following year. You'll see here, probably by the time this airs, there'll be a number of changes and improvements that we've implemented throughout the park that will help make things easier for people as they come in and kind of help adjust to the times. So, there's no playbook for all of this. I wish there was, but we're definitely consulting with our peers in the industry and our governments, and just kind of working as we go to build a plan. So that is all been a work in progress, but I think our leaders have done an excellent job with getting those things together.
Well, I am looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with, because I know a handful of years ago when they introduced the free sunscreen and the sodas and things like that, I'm like, you guys have been known for years for going above and beyond, taking care of people in the park, and it definitely stands out. So I'll be really interested. Now, I noticed something that you just recently posted about a digital opening day. Tell me about that.
So the digital opening day was meant to help folks that were missing our actual opening day. So every year we traditionally open our park on the first Saturday in May. So also Derby Day. It's easy to remember. And so we were really looking forward to that. Obviously, we weren't able to do that this year because of all the restrictions, that are put in place. So, we did a digital opening day and provided a number of things throughout the day online, mostly through our social media channels, to just allow people to feel like they were at home, to feel like they're at the park. They featured around different things, such as, getting a chance to ride your favorite roller coasters, virtually. Also a chance to see how some of our food and beverage managers make some of your favorite dishes at the park, to watch those being made, and hopefully, you can try those at home and see if you're able to kind of pull it off. So we've been closed with a fireworks show from last season, a nice fireworks show set to Christmas music, which is what everybody needs in the month of May, whenever this was taking place. And I think the last thing was actually all of us park employees waving goodnight to everybody, just like you'd see if you were leaving the park.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a good time. It would have been a great day to be open, but since we couldn't be open, we tried to share as much of the experience with our guests and our fans as we could.
So what's been some key things that you've learned so far about the business side of Holiday World since you've been there?
Well, I mean, the key for us, it really extends the same message that we provide in the park, which is, we're going to be friendly. We're going to help people as much as possible in what we do. And we just want to be that avenue that, groups can use to show their friends and their family members and their coworkers a great environment, for whatever it is that they want to do, whether that's, a church outing, whether that's celebrating a family event. It could be, just a standard summer picnic. There are some companies that come out with us every year. We have some that range from 50 guests all the way up to 10,000 guests. So they kind of cover the whole spectrum of opportunity out there.
So at 10,000 guests, is that basically I have the park for myself for the day?
It is, yeah. If you're up in that neighborhood, you can get it to yourself. So if you know anybody, let me know. We'll reach out to them.
I will keep that in mind. I mean, my corporate retreats haven't been 10,000 yet. Usually about 5 or 6, but yeah. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah. So what are there any plans or anything future that's out there that you want to remind people to watch for Holiday World?
Well, I think for us, as I said before, we're navigating this much the same way that everyone else is. And so, there'll be some changes that will happen throughout the park, but there'll be things that are with the safety and our guests first and foremost in mind. So you'll definitely understand that we're taking care of our guests, and hopefully, before too long, we'll be back to somewhat of a normal atmosphere here later on in the year. We'd really love to see that. I think everybody would.
So what are some conversations that your industry is having that helps you guys make better decisions? Because I know part of the groups that I'm in ranges from those that work in weddings and those that work in travel and those that, different industries in their conversation. What is your peer set kind of talking about, and how does that help you guys make decisions?
Well, there are certainly things that, I'm not in on all the conversations in terms of how the park runs. So I have the group sector, and I work with things that typically deal with, company picnics and groups. But those that in our leadership are certainly with those industries, checking in on how other parks have adapted this year. There's certainly parks in other countries that are in the process of opening that, we follow closely to see, what it is that they've done differently and how that works. We are announcing a new program that will allow some guests to wait in virtual lines this summer. So we'll see how that's able to kind of take root, and I think it'll definitely help with our guest enjoyment throughout the day, not having to physically stand in line and for certain rides, but to be able to check in and just report whenever their check-in time arrives to go and ride that ride.
That will be interesting to see the logistics of all of that.
Right. It'll be a work in progress for sure, but I think in a phased approach, I know we'll start off with a smaller capacity this summer, and then we'll ramp up. So we'll definitely learn some things along the way.
So let's talk about, because you've been you worked at Louisville Bats in sales, and now you're in sales here as well.
Right.
So I don't know the best way to phrase this question, but I really just kind of lost my train of thought. It totally derailed. Did you see that happen?
Yeah, I saw it just leave right there.
Like,
yeah.
Wow, it went way out the window. Because what I wanted to be able to do is give us some more of your background in sales. As a salesperson going through this kind of a global shift, right? How are you shifting yourself? What do you as a salesperson have to adapt to in a day to be able to make it happen for the business that you're working with?
Well, the main thing, you certainly have to understand the climate you're in. Just, for instance, we're sitting here, we're doing a Zoom podcast, and, maybe 3 months ago, no one was using Zoom. So there are opportunities, that we've taken to communicate with people when normally I'd be out visiting companies and going, sometimes door to door, sometimes with set meetings, other times with drop-in meetings. There certainly more opportunities to use Zoom, to use video conferencing, to, communicate via email than I think we had been doing before. I personally like to use networking groups with, chamber groups, with human resource management groups, but those aren't meeting in person right now. So we're certainly adapting and going to virtual meetings to still be able to talk to the same people. You've obviously seen me working through LinkedIn to get our message out and to let people know what's going on there. And sometimes those conversations lead to groups and lead to sales and things that, might not have been in the traditional way of contacting people.
So again, advice for salespeople going through this right now, your experience.
I wish I had all the answers. If I did, I'd probably be retired by now. But yeah, certainly I think the big thing is just to understand that, this is going to be a temporary thing that we're going through, and to certainly reach out and communicate as much as possible with the people that are your accounts, your clients. No matter if there's a sales being made today or next week, you certainly want to keep those lines of communication open so that when a time does come that you can, create that event for them, that, they don't forget about you. It's not always, I think sometimes in sales we're tempted to want to make everything happen right at the moment. And in the moment that we're in right now, it's not necessarily going to work for everybody for a number of reasons. So it's really just about keeping those relationships going, and then just having the chance to work through this together, and down the road connect on something that certainly could benefit both parties.
So what sort of motivation, like, do you put any, again, Bryan is a salesperson, like what resources do you use to keep you at the top of your game?
Certainly, I'm always researching to know what other people are doing. When it comes to sales, it's not just, groups, it's not just theme parks. A lot of the same strategies are going to be the same across sales, no matter where you go. So, you can find advice on LinkedIn, you can find advice from the sports industry, from the theme park industry. There's not one specific place that I go to, but I do lean on some people that I've met throughout the years that have trained, they've held different training sessions. Some that have gone through, the sports world. Bill Gertine, Kathy Burrows are just a couple of those that I will look to for advice, and they do regular updates and regular blogs and things that are good starting points.
Great, because we all need a grounding point at some point in time. We get to a halt of, I don't know what to do next. Like, where do I go to
Right.
get an idea? Like, I don't even know. Or sometimes I need something a little bit more than just coffee in the morning to get motivated to want to do something in a day. Right now it's encouraged to sleep later if you want to, because you don't have to get up and go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
and kind of speaking to that, our sales team, we've challenged our team to come up with a few messages each week to share and say, hey, I found this great story. Let's talk about it. Let's see how we can benefit. Here's some advice. And we get together and we share that. Of course, we're sharing it, on a conference call, but it still works the same.
So speaking of stories, I know Holiday World has a great story that's very easy to tell because it's family owned, has a great history, and the theme of itself, the business itself, is an easy story. What kind of stories do you get from people who have been there? Like, what are some favorite things that you've heard back?
Yeah. We hear so many, it's amazing to hear so many people that say, oh, I went when it was Santa Claus land. I remember Santa Claus land. It seems like everyone went with Santa Claus land. But you've got some good memories, some people talking about, hey, my grandfather brought me in when I was just a little kid. Now I'm 60 years old. I still enjoy going. But I think, what we always try to the message we try to get across is there's something there for everyone. I have a 3-year-old niece. She just has a ball out the park, but she's obviously going to enjoy some different things than some other people might be more interested in shows. Of course, you have the world famous Voyage and Legend and Raven wooden coasters. You have Thunderbird, which is the only one like that in the world as far as being a launched winged coaster. And then of course you have our water coasters. So it really just depends on what type of audience you talk to. And, they're going to share a story that, maybe about the old days. It may be about 2 years ago. I always tell my wife, said, man, I wish I discovered Holiday World earlier. I've only been going for, the last several years, but, once we went that first time, we were hooked. And I think that's the way it is with a lot of people, because, maybe if you're in Louisville, you're not out in the area of Santa Claus, Indiana, unless you're specifically driving out there to go to Holiday World. So it's just a matter of going that first time and getting hooked and wanting to come back over and over. So I became a season pass holder and moved up to employee now.
Congratulations. All aspire to. I love amusement. So Holiday World's been one of my all-time favorites forever.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of the first memories I still have is watching the glass blower.
Yeah.
One Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we do get a lot of comments on that. Things things change over the years, but yeah, I know that is a big part of some of the memories out there. And we had a ride retired last year in the water park just because it reached the age where it needed to be retired, and people were telling stories about that and stories about when the water park first opened and how big of a deal that was. And now look at us, we're about to open our third water coaster, which we'll be the only park in the world that has 3 water coasters. And just to think that's in little old Santa Claus, Indiana, is pretty incredible.
I mean, it is a very impressive water park.
Yeah.
Super impressive. How big is that thing now?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know exactly the size, but we have a lot of attention on our water park from our guests. That I think, because I think the coasters, sometimes you may be at an age where they're not as comfortable, or it may just not be your thing. And so it seems like the water park appeals to a broader group of folks. And I think you see that sometimes in the number of rides that we've added, and adding them in the water park just because that's where the demand seems to be, especially as hot as it's been the last few summers. It's a great place to hang out.
Well, you have to admit it's kind of timely that you don't have to be open right now because it's cold.
Yeah.
So, Bryan, is there anything that you would share success-wise, like a little success inspiration? What does that mean to you for all of our listeners that are, in that business ownership, sales realm of things? Like, what advice would you give us as life to be kind of thing?
I mean, one thing that I try to do is I like to always learn. So whether that's specifically to your industry or just in general, I really try to learn something every day and just improve what I'm doing. I found, in a previous job in the sports world, there are lots of ways to set up baseball games, to set up football games. You can always get better at what you're doing, even if you're leading the league in attendance, like our team did for several years. You can always improve. And so even at Holiday World, even with all the things that we do right, we strive to do everything better every day and learn new ways to make things better for our guests. So I always try to keep learning. And then for those that may be a little bit younger and maybe they're not sure what they want to do, or maybe they're gearing towards, that dream job, I always invite them to just get started. A lot of folks, they may have a dream of running a theme park or running a sports team, and it may seem too big, but I think there are lots of ways to get involved, whether that's on a seasonal level, working for a cleaning crew, working for our rides crew, working in our catering department. And then as you see more and more of what goes on around you, as I mentioned, a lot of those seasonal employees, eventually become full-time employees that are year-round for us. That's also the same way in the sports industry. Not many people start off and get that, big-time job with a full-time salary and benefits, especially in the sports world. And so, to kind of take it one step at a time and say, hey, if this is my dream job, then what do I need to do to get there? What other steps should I take to put me in the best position? There are so many people every day that shoot for these types of positions. And if you kind of take it one step at a time and start with the opportunities that are available, I think you certainly put yourself in a better position.
What? You can't just go in and be senior manager or something right out of college?
There are lots of people that they have some interesting thoughts. We used to see that all the time. I actually ran our internship program for the Bats for 14, 15 years. So I would see all sorts of resumes and letters, and a lot of them were great, and then there were some that just didn't quite have the best idea of what it took to get involved or even what they were applying for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also interesting because I'm hearing in the back of my head, one of my friends she did the college program at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And later in life, she's now returned as a cast member. So
Yep.
like it can come full circle. Like if they
Yes.
start in Holiday World, it gives you so much experience in so many different things working in an establishment like that, in customer service and entertainment, and like anything that just deals with people, you're going to learn so much that you can apply everywhere else.
Right. And there are areas that, sometimes you just don't even know much about them until you get involved with that organization. You can meet lots of people and then say, wow, I didn't realize that job was available. That's really what I want to do. Or as I would tell people when I coordinate internships, that you may find out what you definitely don't want to do, and that's fine. Either way, you're going to learn more about the industry. You're going to be in a better position moving forward to look for that position that works for you.
Yeah, love it. So Bryan, I thank you so much. We're at a great healthy point. Is there anything else you want to share about Holiday World or anything in general?
I would just say, I think especially with the year that everybody's having, just to stay positive and know that there are people out there, there are organizations out there like ours. They're looking to take care of you. They're looking to entertain and keep things on the lighter side, whether that's, just for you and your family or for a larger group. We're going to be out there. We're going to be taking care of people. And, that's not going to change. There may be some details here and there, but, we're certainly looking to provide that positive place that, people can come out and enjoy things for this year.
Absolutely. And okay, so last question from me. It's totally selfish, because again, one of the things that I do with my business is offsite corporate retreats. Do you guys, can you put together some fun things to do in the park with a group? Like maybe we could talk offline.
Talk offline. Okay. Yeah.
Because I have some ideas going that I'm pretty sure we could work something out as the future unfolds, to be able to put a package together, since I train and I want them to retain what they're learning through experience.
Yeah.
And what better experience is there than coming to Holiday World? So
exactly.
Yeah, we'll have that chat.
Okay, we can definitely do that.
Awesome. So thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of Small Business Small Talk. Thank you, Bryan, so much for sharing your insights and information and background. If you guys want to connect with Bryan or Holiday World, please look him up on LinkedIn or go to, it should be holidayworld.com, right?
Yes, it is.
holidayworld.com. Is there a replay of the digital opening day?
All of that is still on our social media pages, so we can just go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, just wherever you like.
So if you need a little reminiscing before you get your reservation in for the next opening, the real live opening, go to holidayworld.com and follow them on social and share your own stories of your own experiences at Holiday World. They would love that. So with that, I thank you guys so much for joining us on Small Business Small Talk. Join us again, and if you want to listen to us on Alexa or Google, just say, hey, Alexa, play the latest episode of Small Business Small Talk with Christy Smallwood, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.